What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever, get this, motherfuckers, episode 50.
Oh, wow.
Of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. I can't believe we made it this far.
Do we get a cake?
We don't get a cake, but we did. From iTunes themselves.
Yeah.
We won their best of 2015 podcast thing, which is really fucking cool.
In Canada.
From what I understand, Canada voted for us. So we got Canada's vote. It's iTunes.
So we're there overall.
We're there overall.
Is this publicized anywhere?
Yes, they gave us a whole thing. There was like, we get badges we can put on our artwork and stuff, so it's pretty cool.
Let's do it right now.
Yeah.
Kevin, put the badge on there.
I don't want Canada's awards.
Kevin, bring in. No, I think he's saying it counts.
Yeah, but I just don't want
Kevin, bring up the badge right now. Put the badge over my face, Kevin. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's how that feels.
Mm-hmm.
My God. We're coming up at the end of the year here. Now we're winning awards. Finally, it's all happening. I'm really excited about that.
It's been a long, not even a year for us.
Yeah.
but here we are at the top of the mountain.
So that means we have a couple episodes left in this year. And because of the way we distribute the show, there is going to be some overlap. I think next week's is the one that kind of is going to go into the next year.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so it counts as both.
Early on Friday.
Early people get in 2015. Late people get it on 2016. If you want to get things early, patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. You can get all the things early.
I can't hear any right now very well.
Why? You got water in your ear?
No, I just feel like a little congested.
Oh, I'm very sick, and I can't hear anything.
Oh, you're very sick. Good. It's good that you're here with us.
Yeah, I had
He was sick at the holiday party, too.
Yeah,
So now he's no longer contagious, but that night, super contagious.
Yeah, so I'm...
When you were sharing drinks with him, Colin?
Bad idea.
Done.
I don't think we share drinks.
But it'll be okay. It's going to be okay.
Get me the zinc and the vitamin C, Kevin.
Kevin,
echinacea.
Bring me a pear and a side of Nutella. Don't bring me those things, Kevin.
I went to
instead hand me that belt.
I went to Walgreens like a couple weeks ago to get echinacea, and they had no idea what I was talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't know what that is either.
Echinacea is like an herbal supplement that's really good for your immune system. It's quite popular.
Hadn't shown this off yet.
Yeah, that's great.
Of course, when I beat you in the Nintendo World Champion or the Kind of Funny Nintendo World Championship on Mario Tennis, we said there needed to be a traveling championship belt. Mm-hmm. And then our good friends at Toasty Stickers, flamingtoast.com, made it for us.
They made it happen?
Yeah.
That will be mine, Greg. I hope you know.
What do you want? I'm the champion, so you can. What Let's Play do you want to take me on in next with it?
Any
Nintendo
Nintendo Let's Play.
You're that confident?
That confident.
Mario Golf Toadstool Tour.
Let's do it.
Go fucking get it.
So, okay, what we're doing here, guys, it's a little different than our normal shows. This is a year-end wrap-up, the beginning of our year-end wrap-up extravaganza. What we're going to do is this episode is going to be a look back at all of the video games that came out this year, and we're going to review all the ones that we played in quick little synopsis eyes. It's going to be fun.
20-point scale.
Colin has to number everything.
Colin loves numbered video game reviews the most.
So what we're going to do is topic 1 is going to be kind of the multi-platform games. So your Fallout 4s, your Metal Gear Solid 5s and whatnot.
Right.
Topic 2 is going to be PlayStation. So we're going to review all the PlayStation exclusive games, both Vita and PS4, and just kind of reviewing PlayStation's year in 2015 overall. Then Nintendo, then Xbox with a couple, the PCs and the mobile stuff. We'll add all of that into one little thing. Just because
all the shit we don't care about.
We're just not as knowledgeable about that subsection of the
Rise of the
gaming
Tomb
world.
Raider. I'm getting ahead of myself.
No,
I know some Xbox games out there, buddy. Yeah.
But then what we're going to do
I don't know anything.
Next week, so this is kind of looking back at this year. Next week, just a little hint at the future here. We're going to predict 2016.
Oh.
So it's going to be the same idea. First one's going to be looking at the big games of 2016. Then it's going to be predicting PlayStation, predicting Nintendo, predicting Xbox.
I like this show's idea, and I like that show's idea. And I like them so much, I say when we do it next week, we wear the same clothes.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
It's almost as if we're going to record that episode right after this episode.
That sounds weird.
But that would be weird. But the episode we're not going to record today because we're going to wait until the new year so we can think and ponder on this. It's our Game of the Year episode. Porty is going crazy.
That's how he's going to get really
So we got Game of the Year coming up. So just so people are asking when it's coming, it's going to come in 2016, and it's going to come hard. What we're going to do then, it's going to be 4 topics. You're familiar with the format of the show. Topic 1 is going to be my 10 favorite games from 2015. Topic 2, Colin Moriarty's, one of the coolest dudes in video games. This will be the intro right here. Favorite games from 2015. Then the other half, the coolest dudes in video games, Greg Miller, his 10 favorite games. Then the final topic is going to be the Kind of Funny Game of the Year discussion. So we got some good things the next couple.
A lot of good shows, a lot of solid shows that are worth the $1.
Mm-hmm. They're all worth the $1. What you gonna do with that, Greg?
I'm gonna throw it on my shoulder now.
Oh, okay.
Go through all the championship belt poses.
Yeah.
Just so you remember who beat you.
Oh, I remember.
And who is
It was
the
some
kind of funny
bold-
Nintendo World Champion.
Look at Mario with his little kind of funny face on.
He knows what's up. Kevin, you ever think you'd be this close to a champion? The trending gamer? The #1 voted Canada podcast of iTunes?
We have so many awards.
It's just raining. The awards, not only the ones we make up, the ones we're actually awarded in foreign countries.
in foreign countries. Let's get right into
So
this.
foreign.
Let's get right into this. So let's start off with the big one, Fallout 4.
Okay.
You guys have had some time. You've platinumed it.
I did platinum it. Another trophy for my collection.
You just, man, they're just raining down on you.
I know.
What are the thoughts a couple weeks past the platinum?
Oh, well, what are my thoughts past the platinum? It was fun. It was good. It was what we wanted. A long time, coming into it, we had this conversation, right? Of like, you were talking to me and Colin about it and what we wanted out of it. And I was like, my expectation is that it will be Fallout 3 on PS4, but my hope is there'll be something there that'll blow me away. And I didn't expect that. That didn't happen. Fallout 4 is Fallout 3 for me, souped up. It dropped a lot of the mechanics and things I didn't like about it. It's my favorite Fallout of all time, but it wasn't revolutionary. You know what I mean? It didn't catch me off guard like Fallout 3 did. You know what I mean? That was like a huge event for us. Fallout 4 was a lot of fun. Loved it. But I was just talking about it the other day on another podcast. Looking back at it, I really only have a few handful of like, wow. And then there was this moment that happened. Like you know what I mean? Like I think of it and I think of going there and getting things and picking locks and you know what I mean? Like not mundane activities. They were fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed leveling up and building my character and But for me, Fallout 4 is me and this one companion I chose and then fell in love with and then banged all the time. You know what I mean? Like that for me is like, that's the story of Fallout 4. Whereas like Fallout 3, you go down, you meet this robot. He thinks he's Thomas Jefferson. The first time you run into a super behemoth or whatever, like those are like stand out. Oh my God, that was crazy. In Fallout 4, I do feel was more like, it was what I expected. It hit the spot, loved it, platinumed it, don't regret it. I'm super excited for DLC for it, but I'm not sitting here at all considering it for my overall game of the year.
Colin.
I played it for like 25 hours. Went out to breakfast with a friend of mine yesterday, and we were talking about the game. He's playing it as we speak, and we both kind of agreed it's just not Fallout 3, and that's a shame because it's a good, it's a great game. I think it's a fantastic game actually, but it's the bar was set so high by its predecessors that I think that's why I just fell out of it. I just didn't feel like playing it anymore. I really barely touched it since it came out. Actually, we had the game very early. We had it in October, so I mean that's when I was really cruising through it, late October, early November. It's a great game. I just think that in hindsight, things have happened in the way Western role-playing games are made since Fallout 3 came out that makes this seem a little bit rehashed in a way. And I don't want to say I'm disappointed because I don't know if that's necessarily the right word. It's just that it's not quite what I wanted it to be. I was way more excited to play it than I was after 10 hours of playing it or after 20 hours of playing it. And that's why I just this year for me, as people I think have noticed, I was going through my trophies to see games I played. I've not beaten many games this year because my whole mantra now is like I'm just gonna play until I just don't feel like playing anymore. And that's kind of where I got with Fallout. I think I'll go back to it eventually for sure, but it's a game that in 25 hours I think I've seen everything that there is to see in the game in terms of like what you could do. So
you have a sense of what it is.
Yeah. Story, of course not. But yeah, it's just not. It doesn't. I remember Fallout 3 like I was obsessed with it. And I don't feel that way with Fallout 4, so it's certainly not. It hasn't lived up to my lofty expectations.
Do you think it's just at the detriment of having Fallout 3 already? Fallout 3 was such a game changer, right? We talk about it all the time. Like that was like not out of the blue because we there's preview tours and yada yada yada, but it changed everything, right? So then to now jump into Fallout 4 and it's not changing everything; it's just building on what Fallout 3 does. I feel like that's more some of it's coming through of like it's great, but I'm not like, whoa, everybody, why haven't you played it? Da, da, da.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, it's very popular. It's the second best-selling game in November, and it's doing extremely well, and I'm sure that they're very proud of it, and they should be. I just think that there are developers with Western role-playing games, specifically maybe even Witcher, that show what's possible in those kinds of worlds that I think that that Bethesda can learn a thing or two from. That said, the game's fun. It's got a hook. It's definitely one of those games where you go in any direction and do whatever you want, and you're never tethered to anything, and I appreciate and respect the amount of freedom that the game gives you. But I really am more intrigued now with Bethesda Game Studios' ability to take the next step. And I don't I don't know that they did with Fallout 4. I mean, from the 25 hours I played of it, which I think is plenty of time to realize to have played a game and know 25 hours is more than you would spend with 95% of the games you ever play. So, I think I've seen enough to kind of have a feeling that, in hindsight, people tweet at me like, "Are you disappointed?" And I don't know if that's the right word. It doesn't have its hooks in me at all.
Yeah.
It had its hooks in me, but like what he's saying of like they didn't do anything new. Like, right, the new thing they did was settlements, and I fucking hate them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to build a town and do this. It's clunky. It's not fun. I only did it for the trophy, and that was like such a bitch because it was like, let's manipulate the system and put down 15 clinics, and then maybe rugs work, maybe statues work. Everyone on the internet saying different things, so I'll just fucking throw this shit everywhere. You know what I mean? Like,
it's rugs everywhere.
Rugs everywhere.
Yeah.
Like it's this weird thing of like I don't want to make it sound like I'm not disappointed. Loved it. It's just not like, whoa, my hair is blown back and I can't believe what I just experienced. You know what I mean? It's totally like if you would, when we talked about it leading into it, like, what do I think it's going to be? Like, this is what I thought it was, which is great.
Yeah.
And again, totally stoked for the DLC and I'll get all that, but
yeah. So the next game we're going to talk about, Witcher 3, which kind of has a different scenario going into it than that, where with Fallout, you played Fallout 3 and loved it, so you expected something in 4.
Yeah.
Whereas Witcher, you guys didn't play 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Went fresh into 3. What are the thoughts on 3 now?
Witcher 3 is... It's this weird thing with Witcher 3, I feel like, right? Where it's that song, Love the One You're With. You know what I mean? This whole year, I was so stoked for Metal Gear's open world, in quotes, Fallout's a big open world, even Batman to extent, you know what I mean? Where it was like, I want to get lost in some worlds. I want to go in and, have progress bars and stats and this, that, and the other and build my character out the way I want to build it out. And so Witcher 3, the more you heard about it, the more we saw of it, the more we played it, it was like, I'm not a fantasy game guy. You know what I mean? It's really not the world I like to exist in, but I'm ready to drink the sand. I'm so thirsty right now. You know what I mean? So when it got there, I jumped in and put 35 hours in? I'd have to go look at the save file, right? But then when Batman came, it was like, lights out. You know what I mean? Like, and like now I sit there and every so often I'm like, maybe I'll get back to that one day, but it's going to have to be that I'm thirsty again, and there it is. Like, Witcher 3 is an amazing game, I feel. I love the fan community that's around it and how passionate they all are about it. But it was totally one of the things I was visiting. You know what I mean? So it's like I had a good time playing it and I enjoyed myself, and I totally understand why it's winning game of the year already, even though Colin Moriarty said it wouldn't happen. But like for me, it was like, cool, this was what I need right now, and now I don't. So now I'm on to something else.
Yeah, Witcher was the game I spent the most time with. I think I spent 50, 60, 70 hours with it. I mean, I played the hell out of that game. I didn't beat it because there's no beating it, apparently.
It beats you.
But I think that the game got really long in the tooth, and I just didn't want to play it anymore. But there's something about it, and I've said many times now, CD Projekt did themselves very proud. Definitely like appeared on the scene with this game. And really, when you put it next to Fallout 4, like, you can see where some people are upset with Fallout 4 and why you get it. I mean, Fallout 4 is not a good looking game. It's got a style, but it's, when you put it next to Witcher 3, which is, vibrantly colored and beautifully kind of rendered. Not that maybe the wasteland should be colorful, but
the vistas and all these different things.
Yeah, there's just something about the characters and the writing and it just seemed like it was alive. I didn't seem like I was doing shit just to do it, and there was just a lot of shit to do. I think Witcher 3 is an example of a game that's way too dense. But it's a special game. I think that I understand why people love it, and unlike Fallout, which I think didn't meet my expectations, Witcher 3 like wildly exceeded my expectations.
I get that. That was the thing too, is I remember coming into Witcher 3 and Christine, who was was so into it, she went back and played 1 and 2 again to get ready and super into it, was telling me that it's not gonna click for you, it's not gonna work. And even like, sure, I don't like the fantasy setting, but like Geralt and Triss and I'm like, I liked these characters and Ciri and stuff, and watching them play off each other, I was interested from that angle, even though it wasn't necessarily the setting I really dug. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I was into that world. And like that's what I'm talking about with Fallout, right? Of like, for me in Fallout, I think back right now and I think of my companion in one specific mission where I was like, oh, that was really cool because it wasn't what I was expecting, right? Whereas like Witcher 3, it seemed like not every quest, but most quests had some twist or element to it. Like, oh my God, This guy buried his fucking aborted fetus out in the front yard, and now it's out there terrorizing the town. That's fucked up, and I didn't expect that. And then you have to make a choice, and you make a choice, and it plays out badly. And then you go on the internet and talk to Christine, who's a human Wikipedia for the game, and she tells you, no, it adds really badly over there. It's like, that's really cool. You know what I mean? Like what Colin's saying is like the world is alive, and you interact on what you think are just little side quests, but they're fully fleshed out and they're fully fucked up, and that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's like an example of a studio that didn't remain stagnant. And really pushed it. It's really surprising how good The Witcher is. In many different ways. I was definitely shocked by it in that respect.
Metal Gear Solid 5. Oh yeah. So I haven't played it for a while because I put it on hold when Uncharted Collection came out and a couple other things, and I've been playing those. And then a couple days ago, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna play one more episode.
Sure.
Episode?
Chapter,
whatever the hell it's called. And I was just, my God. How did I put this down?
Episode, you're right.
It's so good. And
Yeah.
I love it, and I love that it's every time I play it, I'm like, this is fucking fun.
Yeah.
Like I just have fun playing it, and it's not the Metal Gear that I wanted. We've talked about Metal Gear so much at this point, but I liked that even after putting it away for a while and then coming back to it, I still get that same rush of fuck, I love this.
Yep. Yeah, for me, that's the thing. It's my game of the year. And that, what I put in initially on launch, 120 something, or no, it was 110 hours, I remember. And then I started manipulating the clock and trying to get all these things, And again, put it down forever. And then at Extra Life picked it up with the intention of platinuming it, even though everyone online is like, you're not going to be able to. I'm like, I'll be able to. And like, granted, that broke me but it broke me in the fact that I was playing for 12 hours straight and making no real, like, you know what I mean? Like checking off one box rather than the 15 I needed to get to the platinum. But playing that, it was still like, man, this is fun. Like this game's so much fun. You know what I mean? Like that was one of my things. I was afraid like taking a break, like I had taken a month or two off, coming back and getting into it. Would it hook me again? Would it do this? And back into how good it felt.
I mean, the best thing about the game to me is the reward system, where just constantly you just feel like you're learning something new, and there's some new mechanic that they teach you, and you want to use it. And I want to get this weapon. I want to be able to shoot my arm and do all this weird shit. And then even when I step away from it, I come back and there's already just that one mission I played, there's like new shit that I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, yes.
I played a lot of stuff this year, and there's a lot of people who really get gameplay right, and we'll talk about them throughout this, I'm sure. But like, I don't think there's a better gameplay loop than Metal Gear Solid 5. You know what I mean? In terms of like, you come back from a mission, and now, okay, while you were gone, these biological resources, processed this way. If you're into FOBs, this is happening. Now this development is done, so you get to take this gun out and do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, fuck, this is amazing, let alone going through and trying to check everything off the maps and boxes and side ops, right? Like I'm playing Assassin's Creed Syndicate right now, which I'm late on. I'm enjoying it, but it's not as the loop isn't there in the same way. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, I want to clear this entire map, and I look at it, I'm like, well, that thing's all the way over there, and my train's all the way over there, and like, how do I get over there easy? And like, well, I'll go look at what unlock this, that, or the other. And it's like, well, it's not unlocking the way I want to, or this, and like, why even buy that weapon if I keep upgrading this? You know what I mean? Like, whereas Metal Gear was so clearly spelled out, like here's what's happening and how it's happening, and I felt like for a long time you have an abundance of resources, right? And then by the time you have to start making those tough decisions, you've kind of taste tested everything, so you know where you want to go.
Do you see yourself platinuming it ever?
I do. I'm going to platinum Metal Gear Solid, the Phantom Pain. It is going to be, I'm not going to do it the way I thought I was going to do it with Extra Life, which was I'm going to sit down and beat it all. No, it's like, cool, tonight let's try to S-rank this mission and get the task done, and then put it aside and come back to it. It's going to be a long play for me.
And do you think you're going to beat Syndicate?
I do think I'll beat Syndicate. Syndicate is one of those two where it's like, that's one I toy around with platinuming, because it's one of those where I like this. There's none of this multiplayer garbage in there, and I like the collectathons. You know what I mean? Like I do like that, and that's what I'm in the mood for right now. So like coming into a holiday break with it seems really good. The only thing that might stop me is that I want to go back and get all the DLC trophies for Batman, which is like doing the challenge rooms again and the Batmobiles with the different things like that. So that'll be what's competing for time, and then it's also like, well, I want to play Life is Strange, and I want to do this and I want to do that, but when I just want to fucking put on a podcast and chill out and go sync points and get treasure chests and check things off the map, just like Rise of the Tomb Raider, Assassin's Creed Syndicate's great at that. And I really like the characters in that. When I beat Syndicate, which will be into the new year, we should come back and have its own topic, because I'm really, really enjoying the game.
Works for me. Have you played any more Metal Gear than just the opening mission?
No comment on Metal Gear.
Okay. Call of Duty Black Ops 3. You did a Let's Play. Did you ever get any further?
No, I never touched it. That's always going to be like a holiday game for me.
Blockbuster movie.
Liked what I played so far, but I mean, I don't have any real comment on it other than to say that the game murdered at retail. Best-selling video game, I think, since 2013. I think I read.
Damn. That's crazy.
That's
Yeah, that says a
surprising,
lot.
right? We were talking
Yeah.
about when is the drop off? When is the drop off?
Dying Light.
Ooh.
I still say Dying Light's like the best experience I had this year. And it's one of those games where I never beat it, and I'd like to, but I don't. I saw the loop and I understand it. It reminds me of The Witcher in that it comes from a team, Techland, that never showed that they can make a game like this, and really appeared on the scene. And frankly, it's another game that makes Fallout not look very good. In its open world. I like the setting. It's like a Mediterranean kind of like Turkish kind of thing. Like you don't really see that in a lot of games. The parkour is really great and it makes sense. I remember when I first played the game, I was complaining about how you couldn't map and buttons. And then I realized like, wow, you can't map the buttons because what I want to do doesn't even make any sense in the grand scheme of things. It's a cleverly made game, and I didn't know that they had it in them.
Yeah.
And Dying Light benefited from when it was released because I think it would have been buried if it wasn't released then. But the zombie thing is kind of like tired, and I get that, and I'm fucking over it too, and like they're boring and all that kind of stuff, and I want new things for sure. That's true, but it's a fun game. You're crafting, you're exploring, you're doing side quests. The characters are like zany and weird. The story is like a cool idea. There's like a real feeling of like imminent danger in the game too when you're out at night.
Jesus.
The game's like really the day night cycle is scary. Like you can get caught out in like way far away from where you need to be, and like you can't do anything about it.
Just run.
Yeah, like you just start running because the game gets impossibly hard at night.
Dying Light's great.
Yeah, so I think Dying Light's a fantastic game, and it was definitely like the game that I loved the most this year.
For me, it was a Fallout, like what his was with Fallout, where I put, I don't know, 15, 20 hours into it, we'll say, or whatever. And it was sort of like, I get this, and I can't believe that they did it either. Like, especially being a Dead Island fan, right? And watching that series progress and whatever, that this is so good. Mirror's Edge, I thought the parkour really put me off. It just wasn't fluid, whereas this is totally not that. You feel empowered, you're running around having a great time. And it was that thing, though, of a while, and it's like, well, I can play this another 20 hours and keep going, but I understand what it is and I like what it is and I'm good.
Star Wars Battlefront. I have to say, one of the most fun games I've played.
Sure.
I just keep wanting to play just little chunks.
Have you played it more since when we were all into it?
Yeah.
Why haven't you not called me? Why don't you text me to play?
I don't know.
Why don't you like me? I don't understand.
I don't like people, dude. I don't like the whole having to deal with people thing.
Kevin and I were playing a whole week together. We did a whole week of the game. It was great. You could have been there.
You invited me one time, then
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out how to do shit with it. So I was like, I'm done. I'm just gonna keep playing by myself.
What do you got to say, Kev?
Is Tim playing online?
Are you are you doing
No,
the
I haven't
single
played
player
online.
mission? You haven't
No,
been
no,
online? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Battlefront took me totally by surprise. I'm not like let's go down the list of why I shouldn't care about this game. Not a huge Star Wars fan. I like it enough. But a great example of this is we're recording this the week Star Wars comes out. And yesterday, Christine and I were talking about what we needed to buy for dinner this week. And she goes, well, is there anything that's going to take us away from dinner this week? And I go, no, I don't think so. Let me look at the calendar. I'm like, no. Oh, Thursday we're going to see Star Wars. Like totally had forgotten.
I hate you so much.
Not a huge Star Wars fan. Don't like competitive multiplayer usual. Don't play multiplayer to begin with, really, right? And I don't even play first-person shooters all that often. But when it, the more and more we saw of this game, and then when I watched Colin and Nick's Let's Play, and they were just having such a great time with it, I was like, all right. And then, yeah, sure enough, got in there. And it's the first time I've ever used party chat on PlayStation 4. Me and Kevin running around having a great time, being idiots, calling each other, debating what weapon. He got the jetpack. And I'm like, what's it like? And,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like all these different things. It's like, we talk about it a lot on, I think, Colin and Greg Live the most of, well, it's casual, right?
Yeah.
It's not aimed at Alfredo. It's not aimed at that. And like, how's that going to play out? And da-da-da. For me, it plays out great of like, it's the kind of first-person shooter where I've put it down and haven't played it since like right before Thanksgiving, right? But I feel like if you were gonna say we're playing tonight, I'd jump back in.
Yeah.
I'd totally be in there. And
What you're
ready
saying
to go.
about the casual thing, that's so right. Like for me, I'm very casual when it comes to video games overall, but specifically first person shooters, like that's just not my thing. Like
Yeah.
I loved Halo back in the day and I loved that stuff. But like once Call of Duty kind of took over and like there's all the perk systems and the leveling up and all that stuff, I don't even know that. Like I don't even understand how that all works. So this with Battlefront, it's kind of a cool way for me to play where it's like, you always talk about Pokemon being like baby's first RPG. I feel like Battlefront in a lot of ways is just like it's hey, here's an easy way to introduce you to what modern first person shooters look like. And I'm like, oh fuck, I actually like this.
Yeah.
I like playing and leveling up and all that stuff. Whereas being an outsider of it before, I was like, oh, that sounds like a grind. That doesn't sound fun at all. But it's like it's not intrusive and it's cool and you do feel a sense of progression.
Sure.
And even you don't need to be good. That's the thing, is you just have fun even when you die. It's like it's not like you're out of the action forever. Like
Exactly.
kinda
You're right
pop
back in. And that's the thing is like it can go. I guess spawn to spawn. One spawn you can come out and you just get your fucking teeth kicked in, and then another time you can actually post up at a good location or something. You figure out this great like place where everybody's gonna choke, and you're going. You know what I mean? Like I always felt like I was in it. Even when my team's getting decimated, I'm just happy to try to work my way towards the middle or top of the pack. Right? I'm like right there. It's like awesome. Yeah. Historically, Kevin and I are the worst people every time on our team, but when we're not, we're like, oh man, good. That was great.
And that's I love that. And it's so many people hate it because like, oh, is it worth $60 or whatever? And it's like I can't even comment on that. I don't know. Is it? Probably not, but like I'm having a lot of fun when I do play it, and it doesn't need a million modes for me to have fun with the modes that I'm playing. Yeah. So it's great, and I love that during every match, like the music will kick in, like when it's like the final like 20 kills or 50 kills or whatever it is. Like when it's close to the end, like Star Wars music starts playing, and you're just like, fuck yeah, this is so fucking Star Wars. So.
If you get 10 kills and no deaths, Watto comes out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So Greg, this is probably just for you. Destiny the Taken King.
Oh yeah. I had fun. You know what I mean? Destiny originally comes out last year. I play it at launch for a good number of hours, get up to 22 or whatever, which is at the time, getting close to the ceiling or whatever. And then took the weekend off. Everybody got amazing, started raiding, and I came back and I was like, well, whatever. Fell off. Everybody continues to be crazy about it. And then Taken King came out and it was like, it's a story and it's this and it's that. And I'm like, all right, cool. And like jump back in. And I only played it again for like a week. You know what I mean? Still haven't raided. I'm just running around doing all that stuff. And I was like, totally, this is fun. It's more game than it was before. And it is that thing of in a different reality where I have a normal job, I'm playing Destiny nightly and I'm going on raids and I'm having a great time. You know what I mean? Like I enjoy that kind of gameplay. I enjoy, that was my big thing with what was it? Halo, which we'll talk about when we get to Xbox, right? But when I was playing Halo with Steimer on co-op, I was like, yeah, this is all right, but like, why don't we just play Destiny? You know what I mean? Like, I'm invested in my character and my gear and my engrams and all, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to play that kind of game, I'd rather play that game. Mm-hmm. I'd rather play that. And Taken King does a great job of spicing stuff up and putting things in, making it more approachable. You know what I mean? Like, I keep trying to push my friend Poe to buy a PS4, and if he does, then I'm going to get him Taken King, and then we would just go off and do that because he can just jump to pretty much right where I am. We can go.
Just Cause 3.
Just Cause 3.
Have either you played any more than just the Let's Plays?
I played it like very briefly. I installed it and then I deleted it. Basically.
Yeah, I did a bunch of space. Yeah, I did a bunch of. A handful of the early missions.
Yeah, me too. I played maybe an hour and a half.
I like it more than I like Just Cause 2. Just Cause 2 came out, I remember, and Clements was like, "This game's awesome." And I was like, "Yeah." And I took it home, and I was just like, I don't like the movement system, and all this is blowing stuff up, and I'm like, whatever. There's no personality to this, but I get why people dig it. Don't get me wrong, not my kind of thing. And so the more we saw for Just Cause 3, like, of course, I hosted a panel at PAX, and they actually showed the destruction. I was like, oh, okay, this looks like it's more of Just Cause 2, but when you pop it in and like it opens with that like boom, it's like this cinematic, like they're introducing goofy characters in this, and it's fun. And it was like, oh, okay, good. Now it feels like they've taken the crazy ass gameplay and combined it with a crazy ass story, and it's like, okay, now I'm in.
Just Cause 3 reminds me of what I remember Grand Theft Auto 3 being when I first played it. I'm just like, you could do anything and it's crazy and blah, blah, blah. But it's like really in GTA 3 now, modern times, you look back and it's like, oh, you were pretty limited in what you could do. Yeah. But this, you really can do any of those dumb ideas you had and anything could explode. And I fucking love that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I don't think I'm going to pick it back up. You know what I mean? I played a couple, maybe an hour. I don't even know. And it's the same thing of like, I like how they took the story and they merged it with this crazy gameplay and stuff. But it's like, for me, like for a collectathon open world, I want to do something like Assassin's Creed, where I'm clearing this off and doing that. And I know I'm talking to Charles Dickens, and Charles Dickens this time, I think is neat. You know what I mean?
No, neat.
Shout out to Charles Dickens.
Yeah, definitely, always. Colin.
Yeah.
Lego Dimensions. Just playing Greg.
Yeah, Lego Dimensions.
You look like a fucking nerd.
I just popped it in a couple days ago to finish off my Doctor Who DLC trophies and stuff. Also to try out the Superman they gave me. Shout out to John. No, it's awesome. I mean, it's Superman. You know what I mean? Like that. So that's the thing about Lego Dimensions. Dial it all the way back to the beginning of the year when they put out the teaser trailer for it. Remember? And we were on Colin and Greg Live, and I was like, Colin's like, what do you think of this? I'm like, there's a million Toys of Life games. I don't know. I need to see more. If they put Superman or Ghostbusters in, I'm in. And then the chat was like, they teased them at the end of that trailer. I'm like, well, I'm in. Fuck. And then it was at Comic-Con where I sat down and actually got a demo from Arthur and saw the game, and the Doctor Who people were there. And I'm watching, and I'm like, oh, it's the Lego game gameplay with this toy. Like, I don't know what I was expecting, what I was thinking, but I was thinking more along the lines of like that Lego, not MMO, Builder Minecraft thing that's on PC or whatever. Which isn't like the Lego game you know what I mean? Whereas this was the Lego game I knew, but it was all the different Lego games shoved together. You know what I mean? And I keep going back to like at the Comic-Con thing I'm watching, they're putting different characters on and like their HUDs are changing and they look like the ones pulled from Lego Batman or Lego Jurassic World or whatever. I'm like, that's rad. That's really cool. And then when they came through and did the thing here and showed Back to the Future, and I'm just nerding out over and over again because it's like you're driving around Hill Valley and it's like they're playing Power of Love on repeat. And then, you in the open world that isn't even connected to, or the hub world that isn't even connected to the story, you can go between, 85, the future, and the past. And I'm like, this is, and I eventually, the developer turns to me and he's like, yes, it's as if we care. And it's like, right, you guys do, you know what I mean? And so that was when it was like fever pitch hype for me of just like, if they treat every franchise this way, then like that's fucking incredible. And then I got the game and played it, and they did. You know what I mean? And for me, it was even this weird thing of like, I don't like Scooby-Doo particularly. I don't hate him or anything. You know what I mean?
I don't have anything against.
I'm a big Scrappy-Doo fan.
Yeah.
But like Scooby-Doo's not my cup of tea. But like even his level was fun. And like it was weird to see it work in reverse too, which, we always talk about when we talk about games bringing people to different things, where I've never watched a Doctor Who before, but Doctor Who's involved in the story of Lego Dimensions, even if you just have the base pack with the 3 guys or whatever, right? And so when we went to his world and fooled around with him, I finished off and I was like, tweeted about like what Doctor Who episode should I watch, and got recommendations and watched Doctor Who on Netflix. You know what I mean? And like then I was motivated to buy the level pack, and it's this weird thing of like it's this great mix of the gameplay I love of Lego games, which you have the humor of Lego games, and then a reason now to play with Legos, if that makes sense. Because I bought, I have the Lego Ghostbuster car over there, the Ecto 1. You know what I mean? I've never put it together because where the fuck am I going to put it in our apartment? You know what I mean? But one day I will when I have my own place, and I'm going to buy the firehouse and never unpack it and have it ready to go. But this is the perfect thing of like playing that game and okay, you start and in the first 10 minutes of it, it's like, okay, stop playing our game. The directions are on screen. Let's build your portal. And you sit there and you build and you get putting the blocks onto a base, and it's like, I haven't done this in years and this is so much fun. You know what I mean? It's so goofy and fun. And then going through and every car has its like 3 different variants. And it's like when I'm changing, I want the time machine to be a hover car. The directions pop back on screen of how to rebuild it. You don't have to, but I do it every fucking time because it's just fun to play with Legos. You know what I mean? Like it's this awesome mix that I'm like, it's for me, I've played Infinity. I like not extensively. I've played enough Infinity here and there. And then I've played Skylanders in the same respect. And this is, for me, more active, but it really just comes down to having the franchises I love. You know what I mean? A big fan of Lego Dimensions.
Good. Is Harry Potter ever going to be a thing?
Yeah, 1,000%. Okay. Not confirmed. There's this, I'll give you a link to the website. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's a Lego Dimensions fan site that I was on their podcast. And he had a leaked thing of what, like this like coded thing. It looks like Harry Potter's in Wave or Next Wave or whatever season. But yeah, of course Harry Potter's going to be in it.
Good. Then we got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5.
Tim, how you feeling on that bad
Biggest
boy?
disappointment of 2015, period.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so sad. We knew it was not going to be good. I didn't know it was going to be that bad.
You didn't know it'd be that bad? That's always the worst when you're like, this won't work out, but...
And it's they patched it, and I tried going back, and the patch didn't really fix too much. It definitely improved the game, but it just brought that up from like horrible to like a little bit less horrible. It added Ninja Turtles, so that is a plus. I'm a big fan of Ninja Turtles.
I'm glad there's a silver lining to it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like it's upsetting because like it did I try to be optimistic about stuff, and even that game, there was stuff I liked about it. It was fun playing a Tony Hawk again, and like having the music play. It felt like a Tony Hawk game, like just in tone and look and all that stuff. It's just wasn't good. And I wish it was better because that I think ruined the Tony Hawk's franchise from ever having a chance of being good again. I think that this would have been its one shot at redemption after the fucking Peripheral games.
Right. Full of technology, Tony Hawk Ride. Real quick, sorry, brickinquirer.com.
Brick Inquirer.
I know it's one of those things, the kids who run that site were listening like, no, say the name.
Yeah.
Say it.
And then Transformers Devastation, which did not disappoint me when I thought it could have. So that was both those games came out like the same, same week. Other. And it was hard for me because I was like, I was wrong about both. But with Transformers, it was fun. It was very short, which I like. I wanted just that quick experience.
Was it full price?
No.
Okay.
No. And it was really cool. And I never thought we'd play a Transformers game that nailed the Transformers cartoon that much. Like it was really.
You kept describing it like it was like how you would play with it on the carpet. It was like ramming,
just ramming toys together. And so it's how you remember the Transformers cartoon, even though even the battles in that show were not that good.
Yeah.
But it's like they nailed the aesthetic. They had all the voices, and they nailed the stupid plot of the game, where it's like Megatron's taking over the world, and it's just like it was just throughout the whole thing, it was good. There was like a lot of nice little hints and teases at potentially a sequel, which is going in a direction that I totally would like. So that's good. And I also think that it opens the door for things like a Ninja Turtles game being made by Platinum in that style.
Nice.
That looks like the 80s cartoon. In the same way that Telltale games, you were saying a couple episodes ago, can kind of tackle games from a different perspective and make it more story based instead of like action. Like we can finally get a Batman game that's about Batman
being a
instead
detective,
of just like,
having a story.
Yeah. I feel like this kind of opens up the licensed arcade games from the 90s to kind of make a return in a more modern format.
Gotcha.
Where we actually get a Turtles 80s cartoon game. So I like that a lot.
Good.
Then we got the music games, Rock Band 4 and Guitar Hero Live.
Yeah.
Both of them I've had ups and downs with.
Sure.
Both of them, when they work, I enjoy. When Guitar Hero Live works and I can get it to sync, I actually love that game. I think it's really fun, and I like how frustrated I get with it because I'm not good at it, and I want to get better. And then you play the songs, and I loved that it reminded me of the old games where I didn't know a lot of the music, and then I heard it, and I'm like, I like this.
Discovery.
Yes, there's the discovery aspect. Rock Band did not have that. Rock Band was very much like, I've done this before. And it was fun doing it again for about an hour, and then you're like, all right, I'm done. Like, I don't need to do this. And whether it's the drums or the guitar or whatever, it was my friend's birthday, and we kind of like all got around and had the band together doing the thing, and it was fun. And then we busted out Guitar Hero, and we had more fun with that.
Really, that's interesting. Yeah,
because it was new and it was fresh.
Sure, and that's the thing for us. I feel like, Colin and I in particular were stoked for Rock Band 4 when we knew it was coming, and it got here, and we set it up, and it was immediately like, our DLC's not working for some reason, even though it's supposed to. The set list packed in sucks, and this is like the exact same tour mode and rewards and story beats, and it's just like, this feels just like Rock Band, which I was over a couple years ago, and I'm not ready to jump back into. And we put it down and never picked it up again, gave it away.
Yeah.
And then Guitar Hero came, and I unboxed it one night when I was in between games I like to play, and I jumped in and I played it, and I was like, oh, this is fun. Like the Guitar Hero TV I thought was poorly explained, leading into it and stuff. So when you sat down and did GHTV, I was like, oh, this is cool. And then like the set list, I remember reading on Colin and Greg Live and Colin saying, well, that's like marginally better than Rock Band. But then when you got into GHTV, you can go and like play songs that aren't on the set list, the set list, quote unquote, but are there for you to jump in and spend your credits on that you are earning in the game. I never had to give any real money, even though I'm sure if you play for years or something, you'd have to. But I was like, oh, this is cool and this is fun. But it was another thing and it was that I liked the challenge that all of a sudden it was something completely different. I had to focus on getting, these 6 buttons down or whatever. But same thing of like, put it down, and I was like, okay. And I've never picked it back up.
Yeah.
Had a good weekend with it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's one of those things where I will randomly pick up every once in a while when I'm just like at home and I look over at the guitar and I'm like,
it's time to rock out.
But I did enjoy Guitar Hero. I think overall, Rock Band, I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever even play that again, but I will play Guitar Hero again, and that's
I enjoyed Guitar Hero way more than Rock Band,
Batman Arkham Knight.
Batman Arkham Knight.
Thoughts?
I enjoyed Batman Arkham Knight. Another platinum this year for me. I mean, looking back on it, I feel like I talk not more negatively, but I think the things that I immediately jump to are my cons with it, right? I mean, the pros are it's beautiful, it's more Batman, it's a system of combat that if you've played before, obviously, and if you love it, you're still going to love it here. And I loved so much about it, but then when I talk about it, I always come down to I hated the fucking bat tank parts, the tank parts only, the kill 36 things strafing back and forth. Like, this is stupid, this isn't Batman. Whereas driving the Batmobile, ramming cars off the road, using it to get a location, totally down with. I enjoyed that part of it, but just the forced tank parts that felt like every other mission I was getting forced to fucking take out 36 guys or whatever it was. That, and then the story for me is still not. It's not that I'm hung up on it. It's just that it was presented all wrong for Batman hardcore fans, I feel. You know what I mean? I'm not going to spoil it. I will not spoil it or whatever, but like they telegraphed way too early. You know what I mean? Like they build up to this reveal of what's happening, and I knew it. I mean, it's hard to tell how long that game was. I knew it 7 hours before, 6 hours before. Like, you know what I mean? Like literally upon this character's introduction, I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah. And that sucks because you said it wasn't going to be like that, but there it was like that. But the whole problem is if they would have said from the beginning, it's this, I would have been like, oh, cool. And then my expectations would have been set correctly.
You're not waiting for a twist.
Exactly. Rather than waiting for the twist. And they do some amazing stuff in there, I feel, with like fucking with perspectives, again, not spoiling things, and screwing with your mind. And like, awesome. There's like so much great there. But I'm hung up on these 2 parts that I just like, loved the game. yeah, loved the game, platinumed it. It's the first Arkham I've ever platinumed. Before I've tried, like, no, I'm going to go get the 230 Riddler trophies in Arkham City and played it for 2 seconds. Like, this sucks. I'm not doing that. Whereas in Arkham Knight, I enjoyed going around getting them. Granted, I did after the fact, before my New Game Plus playthrough, but through it or whatever. Enjoyed that. And then, like, I know this is always a sticky situation. I enjoy the DLC still. You know what I mean? Like, I bought the season pass. I enjoyed the back row content. I got all the trophies in that. And then, these character interstitials are short, which I expected based on how these DLC bonuses have always worked when they're like, play a fucking Harley Quinn map or whatever. You know what I mean? But what I didn't expect is that when they get me back in to do those missions for the 15, 20, 30 minutes or whatever it takes, it's then I look at that and I'm like, oh, right. Now there's a Batman v Superman Batmobile. Fuck. And there's a silver trophy attached for getting the stars. Yeah, I'll do that. Or now there's a new skin for Robin in his 60s thing. Yeah, I'll go do his challenge rooms and sure. Then I'll play it trying to get the 31. Like, there's this weird gameplay loop that I didn't expect in that, let alone the fact that now the one thing I can't comment on, hopefully it's out by now because it's supposed to be out by the end of the month, is Season of Infamy, which is the 5 supervillains, which is supposed to be a meteor pack, but I don't really know what I'm getting into that. But I'm surprised that I've come back and done so much with it, because even with Arkham City, it was like, hey, they're going to give you new challenge rooms. I'm like, fuck that, don't care. And then it was like, here's the Harley Quinn, DLC story explanation. Okay, cool, played that, and I never went back. You know what I mean? It's interesting.
Colin?
I think Arkham Knight is overrated. It was one of the few games that I beat this year. I think that it's got unparalleled storytelling. I think its presentation is unparalleled. I think its gameplay is fucking boring. And I had a hard time making parallel its brilliant storytelling and its character development and all this kind of stuff that I really wanted to like and enjoyed, to like the just mash buttons kind of gameplay that I think is boring and old now. And I just don't feel like it's skill based. And I know that a lot of people disagree, and that's totally fine. But I just think, and everyone's like, well, look at all the things that were modeled after this. And I'm like, that doesn't necessarily make it good or imaginative, because it's really not. Like, there's all of this tech in the game and all of these things you get that you don't really need to use. You run into the guy with the Gatling gun, you deal with him the same exact way every time. You run into the guy with the shield, you deal with him the same exact way every time. It's like, I'm just like, like you look around and there's like 6 guys, 4 of them have guns, so you use your thing to disable their guns. That's taken care of. That guy with the shield, you have to do the certain button combination to get his shield off of him. Then you punch him in the face and you knock him out. It's like, I just don't feel like I don't feel like the gameplay loop is parallel in quality to everything else in the game, and that's really disappointing to me, because I really feel like they made an exceptional game. It's just not fun. Like, I really like, I just didn't find it like to be fun. I do think that Arkham Knight's side quest system especially is brilliant. I love the idea of organically running into things. You have to wait and be patient. You don't really know how to, like, I especially like the Firefly ones with like when the firehouses are on fire and you have to, like, you just see it in the distance and you know he's there and you have to chase him around, or the ones with the murders where you like hear the music, the opera music, and you have to like go and investigate them and stuff. Like, I think there's a lot of really clever stuff in there, but like every time I had a fight, I was like, Jesus, like I'm like, this isn't, there's got to be, it's something better than this that I really feel is more skill based. I know a lot of people like vehemently disagree with me out there, but I just don't feel like it's that clever anymore. And this game suffered for the same reason Fallout 4 suffered. Like, this isn't new anymore. Arkham Asylum, and to a lesser extent Arkham City, were really, really resonated with me because they were so different. And now I want to see them do something again. And like the Bat Tank stuff, like all these things that tried to differentiate the game from the previous 2 games, or 3. I didn't play Origins, but I was just like, this is a waste. Like, I found the tanks to be tedious. I found the fucking AR missions to suck. So there was like all this cool stuff in there. I love the bank, like the stuff with the bank heists and
Two-Face.
Yeah, Two-Face. And I loved like the Man-Bat shit where you had to like chase him down and like inject him with shit. Like, I was like, this is so cool. Like, I would rather just watch this, like than have to do the same fights over and over and over again. I just the lack of boss fights in the game, especially, I think was, I know that some people didn't really like the boss fights. I know some people found them tedious, I think in City specifically, if I remember correctly. Right? Maybe it was even Arkham Asylum. I can't even remember anymore. The boss fights I'm thinking of, like Mr. Freeze, I think was one of them.
Mr. Freeze was Arkham City.
Yeah. Like, so I know that some people didn't like that kind of stuff, but I think it like adds a little bit of imagination to the game and a little bit of like some difference and some nuance that I don't think was there. So Arkham Knight, I think, is like a game that just exists, and I know that Rocksteady can do better than that. That's my opinion. I know it's not a popular opinion, so calm down out there, but that's how I feel about it.
So moving on to your game of the forever. Mad Max.
Mad Max. You want to talk about a game that does have great gameplay? Like, and this is the brilliance of Mad Max and why I want more people to enjoy it. I know people out there have played it. Is that it's really dynamic because it has that like button mashy blah 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 Batman stuff that it's like really not very fun. But I think the car combat's actually like what's really cool about it. The idea of like chasing down caravans and using all of these weapons at your disposal, like the spikes on your wheels and like your grappling hooks and all sorts of shit. It like really does capture the essence of like Mad Max car combat. It's a collectathon and a clearathon. It's an Ubisoft game, even though it's not a Ubisoft game. So it's like, it's like very Far Cry or Assassin's Creed, huge map, territories. You like whittle them down, get rid of these towers, find these guys, kill this trade route, take over this compound. It's very Far Cry. But I think that it's just, there's something really cool about that world. And I will say again, with the exception of maybe Journey, I don't think a desert has ever looked better in a video game ever than it looked in Mad Max. I just feel like that world and its desolation, its destruction, its hopelessness, I think it was captured beautifully in that game. I think Avalanche deserves a lot of credit. I think Avalanche is getting a lot of shit maybe for just cause from some people. People are forgetting that Avalanche also made Mad Max, and I think it's a pretty special game. We play it up, or I play it up as being like this fantastic over the top game. I think it's just a really rock solid game. And if you're into just checking boxes, and that's like why a lot of us play games. I think that's why people play Assassin's Creed. We were talking about that before.
That's exactly
I think
why I'm playing it.
That's why I play Far Cry, and I fucking love Far Cry. I can't wait for Far Cry Primal. I think the idea of just seeing progress beyond just the storyline is really quite satisfying. So to have all of these things in Mad Max that you can do or not do, in addition to the storyline, the side quest, finding caches of goods and diaries and looking at the world before it was destroyed and learning a little bit about Max himself. I think Mad Max is one of those games that really, I think, surprised some people that really went into it with an open mind. And I don't want to say a lot of people didn't go into it with an open mind. I think a lot of people just didn't go into it at all. And that was one of the things that I think was really disappointing, because I think that's really one of the better games of the year.
That was, for historical sake, that was the one that came out on the same day as Metal Gear.
Yeah.
And so it was like a lot of people went the other way.
Yeah. Rise of the Tomb Raider, same issue. Life is Strange. Did any of you play it?
I played episode 1, enjoyed it, thought it was interesting, and was looking forward to the rest. But they all kept coming, and I was like, got to the Colin point of view where I was like, I'm just gonna wait.
Yeah.
And so now, I heard amazing things. Christine loved it. Alexa loves it. Like, I'm stoked this break. By the time you see this, maybe I've already done it. I'd like to go through and play all of them.
Yeah,
you know
I wanted to. It looks awesome.
Yeah,
it looks right on my.
It's definitely an awesome story from that one episode, like where they set it up. You're like, oh shit.
Tales from the Borderlands.
One of my biggest surprise, probably my biggest surprise of the year. Like not 100%, but like one of my biggest surprises of the year, and the fact of like it got announced, and I remember going, what the fuck? You know what I mean? What a weird pick. Like I've played all the Borderlands, right? And I've never been like, this is such a rich world. I can't wait to have a story told in it. And you're just fucking shooting psychos in the head and running around. And like, how's Telltale gonna put a game? The whole thing is collecting guns and shooting. Why would this be interesting? And then I downloaded it, ignored it for 2 or 3 weeks, and then it was like I was having we had like a rough day at work, and I was really fucking shot, and I sat down, nothing I actually wanted to play, like it wasn't hitting the spot, and I saw that, I was like, I'll give this a shot, and 2 hours later, like I laughed out loud a bunch during that. I loved the characters, the performance, the story's interesting, and every time an episode came, that happened. And there's just so many fucking like, there's moments in that as far as dialogue and storytelling that I'll like never forget, like Loaderbot, like, to be honest, it's a mixed bag. I mean, like, that's like the funniest shit ever. And then Gortys and all this different stuff. It was like, man, like, talk about out of left field. You know what I mean? Like, I had zero interest in that game for real. And then it was like, okay, well, I'll try it. And here we are.
Yeah. Evolve happened this year. Mortal Kombat X.
You're just gonna skip over, do Evolve dirty.
I don't know. Do you have anything more to add?
A sad story for Evolve that I think was predictable. You know what I mean? We played it at events. I had great time. Every time I sat down, it was the monster, and I was playing with my friends in one room. I was like, this is awesome. And I'm like, I'll never do this when it comes out. Like, no. You know what I mean? Like, because there's way too much, like, it's the antithesis in terms of like casual to hardcore that Star Wars is, right? You guys could call me at any point and be like, I'm gonna play Star Wars. I'm like, oh, maybe I will, maybe I won't, depending on my day. But Evolve, it's like, I'm really good at being a trapper, but you've never played before, so I need a heal. You know what I mean? It's like I'm getting to like MMO range where I want a really good squad to go out and roll in. Not to mention, it just doesn't work. Like The reason Left 4 Dead worked so well, I felt, was the fact that, hey, you guys want to jump online and just shoot fucking zombies tonight? Like, you don't even have to pick up whatever gun you want. Don't worry about it. Have fun. Whereas this one is all about communication and collaboration. How are we going to make this work? And da-da-da. And it's a new IP, and it's this weird thing. And it came out and it just didn't do anything.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat X. Did you guys play at all?
No.
We did a Let's Play or two on it, and I played a couple times just outside of that. But Mortal Kombat's never really been my thing.
Yeah.
But people like it. Good. Big fans like it. 100 Pence, big fan of Mortal Kombat
Good.
X.
I'm glad people like it.
Mega Man Legacy Collection. Got to give a shout out to that.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of games released, in terms of gameplay, no game came out this year that has better gameplay than the games on that collection. But we've not even close. Mm-hmm. But we've seen these games many times, so there's nothing really new to say about them. I mean, it was a great collection. It's cheap. The challenges are good. It's funny watching people just get eviscerated by that game. They just don't know, Kevin. You know what I mean? They don't understand. They don't know. They don't know what it is for a game to really challenge you, like really challenge you. You have to be patient and play the game the way it's meant to be played. I think the challenges were a nice little addition. They're fucking hard. Some of them are extremely hard. It's cool that you can watch the replays of the people that are on the leaderboard, so you can try to replicate what they're doing and kind of get new strategies and new skills, whatever. And I'll give myself a shout out because my Moriarty's test will be in the 3DS version of the game.
Yay! Yay!
Expanding the vast library.
Exactly. Oh, it's needed. Final game: Rainbow Six Siege.
I've been hearing really bad things about it. I don't know. It's super anecdotal because I've only talked to a few people about it, but everyone I've talked to or like heard anecdotal stuff and don't like it. Like I don't know. It surprised me because we played it when we were at GameSpot.
Yeah.
And I don't play multiplayer games. I definitely don't play team based games. But I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Like I don't see what could have been wrong with it. Other than maybe like technical problems that we were having, like matchmaking and stuff like that, which I assume is cleaned up. So I don't know what you guys have heard about it, but I haven't heard the most positive of things about it.
My whole thing is that I've heard nothing about it. It feels like you could tell me that the beta was released. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I've seen Alfredo tweet about it. But that's it. I've seen Alfredo tweet about it. Like there doesn't seem to be this giant presence to it of like Rainbow Six is out because people love Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We remember those days of playing Rainbow Six.
Rainbow Six 3 was as I've said many times, I fucking love that game. Love it. Yeah. It was my most played original Xbox game, and the game that introduced me to Xbox Live. This is 2003, I guess. 2003, 2004. Fantastic game. Fantastic, impeccable game. But it's just not so much for me anymore.
Yeah, but even with Siege, though, I remember when we were at IGN, like that was the talk of E3 when it was first announced. And,
because you get excited for it and it becomes this thing.
I think it won Game of the Show at E3.
Did it?
That year. I think so. I think it did.
I don't know why I said it like that. Like, I can't believe it. Then I'm like,
yeah, no, because I remember it.
I just remember The Witcher kept winning. The game never came the fuck out.
All right.